Okay, I am going to call to order the public hearing on the budget. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Present are Mayor Marion Galbraith, Deputy Mayor Keith Hedrick, Councilors Andrew Alvento, Joe Russ, Conrad Heed. Excused are Councilors Stephen Sheffield and Lawrence Garish. Also present are, is City Clerk Deb Patrick and
Oh, here comes another counselor.
Councilor Stephen Sheffield has arrived.
Okay, thank you
And
very
our
much.
Finance Director Ron Uhas is excused
Here
at the moment.
someplace. Okay, so I'm going to begin the hearing by bringing up a couple of items. The budget that I have submitted has an increase of $563,363 over last year's expenditures. It's a 3.9% increase in spending, but it requires no increase in the mill rate thanks to an increase in the grand list and an increase in the return on investment from Groton Utilities. This budget contains $400,000 in contingency for highway expenditures. It was done before our meeting with the town. Since that time, we have learned that we accepted a $66,000 cut from the town in the meeting of 3 and 3, based on the idea that they were going to cut all their department budgets by 5%. That turned out to not be true, but we had already accepted the cut. We also were cut over $173,000 in our police budget. Those are questions that you will have to decide whether you wish to fund that cut. It was meant to represent a decrease in 2 police officers. Again, some of the information that was given about cuts in the town's police force turned out not to be accurate. That in fact, 2 of the positions that are not filled were held open because there are people on leave. So it was not as indicated. In addition, they cut our OPEB money by half because they'd cut their own OPEB money by half. As it turns out, we were already paying what half of theirs was, so now they've cut us again in half. So they'll be paying approximately $2,000 per employee for OPEB on the town side, and only $1,000 something in OPEB for our police department. So those are questions that you're going to have to deal with. There is, as I said, a contingency in the budget because we didn't know what was going to happen with highway. So there is an opportunity to make some adjustments there, should you decide to do that. This budget also in the contingency contains $175,000 for undesignated capital projects. We have put off capital projects for a couple of years now. We have used municipal grants and aid where we could for things for Parks and Rec in particular, and we plan to do that with the funding to provide some funding for the Tyler House this year. However, there's only so far down the road you can kick your capital improvement projects, and although they're undesignated, there is money in there. So you may decide to put some of the $400,000 that was put away for contingency for highway in there and fund more of those. As I say, we have not put, I think the only vehicle reserve money we're putting away this year is $20,000 for the fire department. And something for
60 for fire and 20 for WPC.
I think, no, we cut the fire. So we have WPCA has some money to be put aside, and fire, but we have not been, building. We put a little bit of money aside, but we have not been funding our vehicle reserves the way we should. We have not been funding a number of capital projects, simply because we didn't have the money. So that's something for you to think about. The use of the undesignated fund balance will be $400,000. This would leave us a healthy reserve of 19.6, slightly higher than fiscal year 2017. We're trying to slowly build that amount of money. When when it comes up time for bond, one of the things they look at is how healthy your general reserve is, and we should be someplace in the 20 to 25% range. So we're trying to get closer to that every year. So that's what I can tell you about the budget, and now we'll open it for the hearing. We'll allow, would the clerk please call the notice of the public hearing?
Pursuant to Article 6, Section 2B of the City of Groton Charter, the City of Groton Mayor and Council will hold a public hearing on Monday, April 17th, 2017 at 6:30 p.m. in the council chambers of the City of Groton Municipal Building, 295 Meridian Street, Groton, Connecticut, for the electors of the City of Groton and all others qualified to vote to solicit input from them concerning the proposed fiscal year 2018 City of Groton budget, dated at Groton, Connecticut, this 10th day of April 2017 by the Mayor, Marion Galbraith.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? If you do wish to speak, please come up and state your name and address, and you will have 5 minutes for your presentation. And I will rely on Councilor Sheffield to be our timer.
It shouldn't take too long. So I was dismayed to
Name and
hear-
address, please.
Oh, you're right. Jamal Beckford, 74 Pleasant Street. I was dismayed to hear about the cut to the police budget. And I know that I'd heard in this meeting, I want to say on March 27th, that we were looking at the, maybe acquiring police vehicles. And maybe it would be a good idea in the interest of public safety, and I'll leave that up to, I guess, the chief, but to just throw out my concern that maybe it's better to keep police officers on the rolls, rather than getting a new vehicle. So that's my one comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have anyone else who wants to address us? Then I will just, before we close, I'll just take a moment to say we cannot encumber money for payroll. You can encumber money for purchases. So any money that would be from this year, and that vehicle purchase would be with this year's funds, that money can't be saved for payroll for next year. You'd have to designate money out of the contingency or something like that, which is there. But I just wanted, that question has come up. Councilor Heed also asked that question. But you can't just save the money from this year to encumber it into next year's. You can purchase things with it, which purchasing the vehicle may take some pressure off of purchasing a vehicle next year, and then that money could be used for payroll. Okay. If there are no other speakers, I will, I hear a door. Did I just hear a door?
I did as well, but it may have been somebody coming from the gate.
Okay.
They come out the side door to use this.
Gotcha. Okay, then I'm going to adjourn the public, I need a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Close the public hearing.
Close the public hearing.
We will close the public hearing and then call for adjournment.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. Now I call for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.